Hi, and welcome yet to a brand new episode. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to craft your CV to depict exactly what your cover letter is saying. A CV is usually an academic document that depicts your experience, your expertise, your skills, and your knowledge. And if you to find out the difference between a CV and a resume, a CV is usually longer than a resume. And CVs are basically used in academic settings where you talk about your experience. If you had a grant, you write about your grant, your prizes, your publications, your patents and awards, among others. So a resume is shorter. It's usually 1 to 2 pages long, and it just talks about addressing the skills that the job is calling for. So in this instance that we're talking about, we're going to talk about how to craft your CV because you're applying for an academic position, which is a PhD. So before we get into that, here's an advert from our sponsor, Anchor. As I've already explained the difference between a CV and a resume, for graduate school, you're looking at a CV. So your CV has to be made in such a way that it entices the reader to read it. So here's the first thing that you need to do when writing your CV. You need to include your contact details, which are your name, your email address, your phone number, and or your Skype, in case the interviewer needs to contact you via Skype for an interview. So after you've done that, let me talk about the email address. Your email address needs to be professional. Refrain from using those old email address hosts such as at AOL, at Hotmail, at Live. Get yourself a Gmail or Yahoo. In personal preference, I prefer Gmail because Gmail has less spam, and Yahoo most times tends to have spam. So get yourself a Gmail and do not use sex frames or sex things into it or unprofessional titles like calling yourself sexy hot chick at gmail.com or saying hot mama at gmail.com. Get yourself an email address that has your name, preferably both your names, or you can abbreviate one and say, if your name is John Mary Smith, you can say jmsmith at gmail.com. If your name is Muhammad Ali, you can say muhammad.ali at gmail.com or mali at gmail.com. Refrain from using names that are objectified as sexy or inappropriate. The next thing that you need to do is provide an address where you are. Usually a town or a city can do. Like myself, I'm in Brisbane, Australia, so I would write Brisbane, Australia. And also a phone number in case they will need to contact you on a phone number and they need to give you a phone call. Provide your phone number as the first part of your CV. So after you're done with this, the next thing I would suggest is that you have a personal statement. A personal statement is a career summary. You're going to state what motivates you, what kind of person are you, why you're seeking a PhD. For instance, you'd say, I'm a passionate, goal-oriented scientist searching for a PhD to explore this career path. I've just given a summary, but there you state why you're applying for the PhD and what you need out of the PhD at the end of the day. So after you finish with a career statement, underneath that you write your education. Since this is a CV, you need to state your education clearly. By stating your education clearly is that you write the heading, education. Underneath it, you bold the highest qualification that you have. It could be a master's, it could be a bachelor's degree with honors. Bold it on the left-hand side. Then on the right-hand side of the same line, put where you attained it at. Let's say I would state the University of Queensland on the left-hand side. Then on the right-hand side, I put Brisbane, Australia. Then underneath that, I would state the qualification, which could be a master's degree, which could be a bachelor's degree. So state it underneath that part. Then right on the right-hand side, you write the dates that you acquired that highest qualification. If you have more than one qualification, also state it under there. but in chronological order, showing that this is a highest followed by the lowest qualification that you attained. After you've done that part, the next part is to write about your area of expertise. The area of expertise is just a summary of what the PhD advert is looking for. Like we discussed in the previous episode, if the PhD advert is calling for a person who knows Java, R, and the bioinformatics computing languages, state that under there. You could bullet them, but refrain from using boxes. You can bullet and put 3 columns in the same area, or you could just use bullets and state at least 6 areas of expertise basing on the job advert. The job advert might call for more, so you can add, just if they ask for a person who knows a given skill and you have it, just put it under the area of expertise. After you finish the area of expertise, the next part of it is to state your publications. Since this is a PhD, some people have publications and patents. A PhD is research, so it would be very important for you to put your research first in this area. If you've had publications, state them under there. Depending on what format you choose, like there is Chicago, there is APA system, choose one that you like. And also, if you're a contributing author, I would suggest that you bold your name so that the reader or the reviewer of your CV is able to see your name. So after you've done that part, the next title should be your professional experience. Professional experience might be that you've had a job, you've done some volunteer work, you've done part-time work that relates to the PhD that you're applying for. Don't put that you worked at a supermarket yet you're applying for a PhD. That's not relevant to your academic qualifications. So put professional experience that is relevant to the PhD that you're applying for. It might be a job title that you've held previously or you're currently holding. It might be volunteer work that you've done. It might be a part-time job that you did for your supervisor while doing your master's. It might be you've tutored during the university. All these are skills that when the person looks at your CV, they're like, oh yeah, this person did some tutoring, so they might be good at teaching other people along the journey of their PhD. So after you've done that part, you could write about your awards and prizes. Awards and prizes might include whether you won a scholarship to do a master's degree, or whether you were rewarded for being the best student. Did you appear in the newspaper? Let's say you've done research with other people and they've selected you people as winners of an award. Did you win any travel grants? Did you feature in any local magazine or local media or news? All these are trying to put you out there as a competitive person, as a skilled person, as someone anyone would want to have in their PhD group. So whichever accolade you've got, please include it in your CV. And also when you do this, it puts you out there, like it puts your CV out of the park, that they will be able to notice this person has the skills and it's what we are looking for. Ideally, your CV is answering the questions that the PhD advert asked. So you're giving them all the answers in short bullet form and precise to the point. So anything that you think that will sell you or will help your CV be put on top of the pile, include it in your CV. Ideally, as you start out, your CV is going to be short, but don't be scared to put it out there, because as you continue advancing your career, your CV is going to grow and you'll have more and more accolades to your names if you put in the work. So when you're done with that part of your CV, the next thing you need to do is you need to provide references. Some people suggest that it's better to put available on request, but you're applying for a PhD. You don't want the review of your CV to look at your CV and they're like, could you send in your references? So I would suggest that before you put anyone as your referee, please ask for their consent to be included in your application, because you're providing someone's email address and you're providing their details to another party. So ask them whether they would be willing to be your reference before you include them on your CV. So that's how an academic CV is written. If you want more detail, I have a template for this, and if you need help on your CV, please get in touch with me. I'll be able to help you. I'll send you a template that you could follow to write your CV for graduate school. Before I go, here are the no-nos that you don't need to put on your CV. First and foremost, you don't need to put a photograph. You do not need to put your marital status, your age, any infographics, any tables. You should refrain from using tables. Yeah, I bet that's all. Do not put in your photograph, do not put your age, do not put your marital status, do not put in your hobbies. Oh yeah, the last thing I forgot is hobbies. It's not a resume, it's a CV. You don't need to put that, oh, I love to go swimming, I love to go out clubbing with my girlfriends. No. It just needs to be a professional academic document that details your qualifications and also your research journey, because you're applying for a PhD. In case you need more help, please be sure to shoot me an email. My email address is in the show notes of this episode. And also, something new has come up. I've opened up a Facebook private group for listeners of the Frame Solution. If you'd like to be included in the Facebook private group where I share details and I share documents, I will be doing lives and also sharing different aspects of personal development. Please send me a voice note through the Anchor website and I'll be sure to add you on. When you send me a voice note, I'll get your Facebook details and I'll be sure to add you onto the group. Alternatively, if you don't want to do a voice note, send me an email giving me your Facebook name and I'll be sure to add you on to the group. This group is for people who listen to this podcast so that they can get value out of this podcast, and also we can continue the discussion in terms of personal development, career growth, productivity, and the like. If you have anyone that you'd like me to interview on this podcast, please be sure to share their details. Send me an email also. If what I've provided in this episode is of any good to you, please rate and review, share the episode with your friends, and I can't wait to speak to you in the next episode. Please stay blessed, have a lovely day or evening wherever you're at, and let's speak soon in the coming episode. Until then, bye-bye.